they're not all going to say nice things about Bill in this documentary. For once.
I've seen some quotes about Brady being treated like a beaten dog.
Oh, man.
How rough it was. Even Slater, I think, talked about how rough Bill was on Brady and how rough it was. Gronk didn't want to get out of his car to go into the facility.
Yep.
Didn't want to get out of the car to go to work. The best tight end in the history of football.
I'm joking. Come on.
The best tight end in the history of the sport, in my opinion. But I'm only one man.
There were days like that. I remember days like that. Like, oh, freak, I don't want to go to work. It's a hard week. Practice Wednesdays. Wednesdays sucked. Those guys probably warned them more because of the mental anguish. We had mental anguish with Parcells. Like, he made you hate coming to practice, but you love game day. Bill's kind of the same guy. So I take a little bit of that with a grain of salt.
I get wanting guys to work hard and focus and all that. That just feels like not fun. And I mean, if you drain all the fun out of the job, what are you going to get out of most people? Like, are they really going to be tuned in when they show up?
Yeah.
Like, I'd rather have everybody be engaged. And listen, I get it's not all fun and games, but if guys are literally just don't want to come in the door, do you have their full attention when they get there? Are they really into what they're doing?
Or do they operate with their highest level of confidence every day?
Right.
Right? Doesn't that, beat a guy down after a while?
You're just trying not to get yelled at? Like, I'll just, I'll do what I need to do so that, coach just ignores me today because I don't want to get yelled at?
Right. I mean, that's what it is. That's the environment they created. And they knew what they were signing up for. Not that you're signing up for it, but Bill's never going to change. Bill's never going to change. And it's like even Billy O'Brien, you hear him this week as he accepts the BC job. Like, Trud needs to pick his own coaches because I came here to coach for Bill. I'm a Bill guy.
But you say Bill's never going to change, but the early Bill, which we're seeing in the first couple episodes of this, seems like a bit of a different guy than the later Bill.
Like he got old and crusty?
He got to be more of an a-hole as it went along. He wasn't that when he first got here.
So was he emboldened by the success?
Yeah.
Reading his own press clippings?
Your chest sort of pumps up more when you got 6 rings as opposed to none at that time. Like, you haven't even had a ring yet here. You had rings with the Giants.
So you don't have to work to get a player's buy-in or to, sort of
you became,
get the best out of them. You just expect it.
The brand stamped itself, yeah. Yep. People would come here, take less to play here to win a championship. Those days are gone. Yeah. It's the way it felt. And Brady led that. Brady led that charge, even though he figured out how to get his money at some point. But, for the most part, he was taking less. Brewski taking less. Guys sticking around. Rodney wanting to come here. Rodney was a big get for them because he was coming here to replace Laura Malloy. Bill knew it because Laura's contract's getting too high. We're going to get another guy in here.
Do you think that'll happen for the Chiefs to some degree?
I wonder. That's what I said. That's the first thing I said when this thing was going to hit. Will Clark Hunt, Andy Reid, and their GM, and Patrick Mahomes, and Kelsey, and Chris Jones, and all these guys that are up there, watch this. And watch how it ended. And watch how it came apart. There weren't many stories like the Dallas documentaries to where we could look back and say, well, we don't want to be like Dallas at the end, changing coaches. And Jimmy and Jerry couldn't get along. We kind of knew the story, but you didn't know in full detail. This is pretty detailed. This really hammers home the reporting that's been done on it. Because there's a lot of people that say, well, I don't really believe Wickersham, or I don't believe this, and there's some middling of it. Kind of hits true on everything.
Wanted to get to this sound. It's Matthew Hamachek, who was on with Tommy Curran and Phil Perry on the Patriots Talk podcast when asked about how difficult it was to talk to Bill.
The thing that I love about Bill, and I think a lot of other people who are Patriots fans love about him, is this is the guy that was always ahead of the curve, always letting the people go a year early rather than a year late, right? And then I think of him in game situations where in that 07 season we were just talking about against the Washington football team, they're up 40-something to nothing, and it's the fourth down in the fourth quarter, and instead of kicking a field goal, he goes for it, and the score goes up to 50-something to nothing.
Yep.
And there's a reporter afterwards who says, "Why'd you do that?" And he says, "What do you want me to do? Kick a field goal?" And that's what I love about Bill Belichick.
He's right.
And then and then it takes me back to this moment that happened this past season. And I was this is me from the outside looking in because we really didn't cover that season. But there was all these people that sort of speculating that in the 16th or 17th week of the season that Andy Reid sort of took it easy on him, right, and didn't score on him at the very end. I don't think that's how you honor Bill Belichick. You honor Bill Belichick by treating him with the same respect and determination and desire to win that he's treated everybody else in the best way possible. So I had no hesitancy in saying I'm going to sit there and I'm going to ask him the exact same questions that I've asked every other person that sits down in that chair and answers. The difference is, in some cases, Bill didn't want to answer those questions, which is why you hear me asking it. When other people just answer the question, their answer just goes in.
I love that. What do you want me to do? I'm going to ask you the same things that everybody else got asked. Too bad. If you don't like it, well, what are you going to do?
I'll tell you what he's going to do. He's going to stare blankly at the camera and not say anything because that's what he does.
Here's what I want to know about this. Why did all these guys agree to do it? What was their motivation? What was Bill's motivation to sit down for this thing? I'm curious. Did they pay him? They pay him a lot of money?
I don't know if they paid him. He may have been told he had to do it by his boss. Like, hey, I need you you on this.
Because was Robert the one who really wanted this?
Oh, well, the book.
Yes,
It's based on the book, and
right.
it's Robert's book.
Right.
So,
I mean, you can see Jeff Benedict with Robert a lot. Yeah, I would say that. Yeah, because he's not in football hanging around with Bill. But Bill doesn't go out of his way to do things unless, respect for the owner, and he's asked to do it, and it's coming to the end. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, we know he's like a historian of the game, and, I think he wants like some documentation.
I'm sure he'd like to say, hey.
But at the same time, there are clearly questions that he didn't want to answer.
He knows he's not going to get out there, but I want to put myself on it to where, okay, you can ask me it, but I don't want to be not part of it to where everybody else is saying it, and I didn't get a chance to say something.
But they ask him about Malcolm Butler, and he says, we talked about that. Stares at the director.
Which means it could have been how it was addressed that week in the Super Bowl, or how I just told you 8 minutes ago, I'm not going to talk about it.
Yeah.
That leaves it up.
I don't know which one it is. I don't. It seems to be coming off as, Mr. Director, we had a conversation about this, and I'm not discussing that.
Bill's the only one that knows, man. It's crazy.